This video explains how I made a table and a guide for a Singer 29-4. There are many ways to make a tabletop, and this may not be the best, but it works. This is not an attempt to make a copy of an original table, because I've never even seen one. This one was made to be used. While visiting a friend, she asked me if I could sew leather onto heavy cardboard to make a leather-bound book. I told her I didn't know, so when I got home I tried it. I used both cardboard covers of a notebook and some leather from an old chair. The total thickness of cardboard and leather was close to 2/10 of an inch, and it sewed well at 7 stitches per inch. The cardboard was 70 thousandths of an inch, which is equivalent to a 70-point chipboard. I apologize for using inches instead of millimeters. I used inches to build a tabletop a year before I even knew I was going to make this movie. It's easy to convert. Just use this formula. It's a lot easier to sew a straight line and handle large pieces of fabric when using the tabletop and guide than sewing on the bare arm. Without the two accessories, I have to constantly move the fabric or head to steer in a straight line. The guide helps prevent the leather from wandering. The table support leg fits into this raised notch, and leather on the end of the table rests in these hooks. When not in use, the table folds away for storage. You can see the two swivel arms that are used to keep the table on the sewing machine. On the end of the tabletop are two pieces of leather that hook into the sewing machine. It is quick and easy to install and remove the tabletop. Just place the leg in the groove, then set the leather in the hooks. To secure the tabletop, twist the two swing arms into place. The tabletop lies just below the needle plate, so the plate can swivel out of the way to change the bobbin without taking the table off. The guide works well, and here's how it was made. Since the needle plate sticks up above the table, I carved a clearance groove into the guide. The guide, like the table, are made from scrap oak that I salvaged years ago. There are two blocks fixed to the upper part of the guide. They were the same thickness as the tabletop, and then I tapered them slightly so the swivel arms make solid contact with the table. Tightening the wing nuts pulls the swivel arms up and secures the guide rigidly to the tabletop. Here's a demonstration of how easy it is to install. With just the edge of a board, the guide has to stay 3/8 of an inch away from the needle to clear the screw that holds the foot on. Notching the guide gives clearance for the screw, so the edge of the guide can be 1/4 of an inch away from the needle. My table has become wobbly over time. The culprit is the leather holding the table up. The leather is very forgiving and easy to use, but it stretches and bends. I just tried to make new ends to see if that helps. I found a piece of plastic that I think is polypropylene, and I'm swapping it out with the leather. The piece is just a little wider than the opening in the hook, so I filed one part of it with a rat tail file and a half-round file to make an indentation. Don't forget to file a tiny bit of the corner on the back side too, so it clears the small radius in the bottom of the far side of the hook. Once the plastic pieces fit the hooks, I drilled holes and countersunk them to accommodate flathead wood screws. It was a lot harder to get the plastic parts to fit properly than the leather because the plastic is rigid and not forgiving like the leather. But once installed with the plastic ends, the tabletop is rock solid. It doesn't wiggle at all anymore. Here are some dimensional drawings of my table. The first drawing shows the leather location. Plastic works better than leather, but it's harder to fit. The second drawing is for the support leg. The third drawing is for the tabletop, and the final drawing is for the guide. I'll try to put links to the drawings in the comment section. Well, this was a fun project, and if you make one, I hope you will enjoy it as much as I did.